potatoes are starting to mush up. Now, let's see. Switch again. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay. Everybody can see that? That's what. This is. This is the gumbo. Okay, we can finish this off. Oh, okay, I was going to say, is that me? Now I'm going to add the okra.
Can you use something else instead of okra?
You can, but it's not gumbo. But you can, absolutely.
What would be a good replacement?
You could put collards in, or kale, or some green like that in if you want. And while I shouldn't do this, I'm going to, because I just put a little bit in. I'm going to put the flour in. Okay, I'm not going to mix it with any liquid. You can do that when you have the fat in here. You can do that reasonably successfully. It's when you have a pot full of liquid and you dump the flour in, you're going to have little blobs of unpleasantness. But when you do it this way, it'll thicken up, and then I'll add the liquid. Because you want to cook flour for a while. I don't know if any of you, who makes their own gravy? Oh, good. So we know all about rooms then. Good. Well, which, by the way, on the gumbo, make the note, please, that should have, on that amount, you're going to need about a cup of celery. Because in my recipe, I forgot to change it when I copied it, so you got, it should have a cup of celery. If you don't want to put it in, don't put it in. The gumbo tends to always have celery. No, on the gumbo, the black bean gumbo. Oh, yeah. I'm going to let that cook for a while because I want those potatoes to cook. What have I done with my lid? Ah, there it is. Now, while that's doing its mystical, magical thing, I'm going to mix up the cornbread. This I'm taking this off. Yes. I measured out the flour. It's on the very back page is the sour cream, is the cornbread. And let me just get myself organized. I did my pan ahead, floured it, sprayed it with some cooking spray, and then floured it. So it's all ready to go. What I'm making here is going to be a triple batch, but it'll it works. What I have in here is buttermilk, eggs, and the liquid ingredients in essence. There is a low sodium. Yeah. The low sodium version, though, does have MSG in it. Be aware of that, if that's an issue for you. Because salt, like it or not, you get a lot of flavor from it. And if you notice, I'm not salting anything. I have it here in case we need to correct. But that base is pretty accurate. It's, and if you're doing a reduction, you add the base after you reduce. Otherwise, you can have an issue with too much saltiness. But I mean, I'm not a heavy salter, and I haven't had any problem with it, or I don't find it, to be an issue. Okay, I'm going to put some more of the curry in, and I'm going to put some more of the cumin in. And if you wanted, at this point in time, you could put some red pepper flakes in. If you wanted some more heat. Okay, now it's going to go over there. Everybody, I mean, I don't know if you can, there.
Very nice.
It's pretty, isn't it? Yeah. You want to. Now, in this one, I'm going to use chicken base, but we also have a mirepoix. We have a vegetable base. You know, if you're vegetarian and you want to do that, you can. I just want to use the chicken because I like the chicken base. And, you know, this is great to enhance a gravy. You can just use, you know, a little bit. And particularly when you're using it, if you know that you're going to be using this, then salt everything else accordingly. You know what I mean? In other words, don't add your salt kind of until more toward the end of whatever it is you're making, like with your gravy. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about here is I wanted to mention, I'm putting the black beans in here, right? The black beans, no, these aren't black beans. We're going to have black beans in here later. No, yes, it's a mystical, magical black bean. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Can you see that? Yeah? Here, let me see if I can. But it gets, you know, it's like confetti almost at this point. Black beans, okay? Or any bean for that matter. I cook these from scratch, okay? These aren't canned. I have to try to pick out the bay leaves here now.
So you got the dried.
Dry beans. You have three options. One of them is to use a pressure cooker. We're not going to deal with that. That's a kind of a thing unto itself. There are two ways basically of cooking beans. One is the overnight. You have to soak them generally. You can cook them right from the get-go, but they're never as good. So you can soak them overnight, and you cover, you know, wash them, clean them, pick them over, make sure there's no stones. And I haven't found a stone in a bean in years. Having said that, somebody will probably break their teeth. No, sorry. Won't happen, won't happen. You wash them and then cover them by about, 3-4 inches of water. Let them set overnight. And the next morning you drain the water off, put more water on, and then cook them until they're tender. They tend to be a little bit softer when you do that than when you do it the way I prefer to do it, which is the rapid soak method, which is you wash them and do the whole thing, cover them with water, turn your burner on, bring them to the boil them for 5 minutes. Okay, I have to check and see how these potatoes are. How do you do it? They're never good. Now, because I put the tomatoes in when I did, these potatoes are never going to be quite as tender as they would have been had I cooked them and then added the tomatoes. But, you know, life isn't perfect. So, now I'm going to put...
But they're not going to be hard either.
No, they're not going to be crunchy. They're just going to be really firm. And you can use these bases also to correct the salt, if you will. Yes, I wanted some more of this. And the pickles will make a difference when I put those in. That's why I want to have a little more sweet in there. I tend to go a lot by how things look, and when I'm making bread, how they feel and how they taste, you know. You just have to do that, kind of. And there it is.
Wow.
Okay. Good enough to eat, let's hope.